The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 25th day of January, 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindo's. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Sherry Vanderpool, and Leanna Lambert will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Sherry, it's the second day of the first full week it looks like we're going to have for the year. How are you feeling?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today, Jamal?
Sherry, I've said this to you before, but the last 2 days, I felt like I was back in recruit camp up Warwick Camp in the Bermuda Regiment because it was freezing again. Yesterday, it was like 46, 47 degrees when I went out there for my morning jog. This morning, it was about 50 degrees when I went out for my morning jog. And I'm just like, I didn't sign up for this, South Florida. I didn't sign up for this. Come on now. So,
like you, everyone has a moment, Florida included.
Yeah. I mean, they're gonna. I just don't want to give anyone any stories about Florida Man. You know how that little thing goes. You type Florida Man and my name comes up. I'm trying to avoid that. So, yeah. Let's get to the warm. Has it been warm in Georgia, or is it chilly? Like very cold?
It's still chilly, and
Yeah.
I'm just cool by nature. But yeah, it's still chilly.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Leanna brings Bermuda some warm thoughts in her weather today, because folks, look. Let me be honest. My favorite season is fall, autumn. So I'm a cool kind of guy. I don't like the heat. I don't like too cold. I spent majority of my adulthood in the Northeast, and I thought I retired from that. So yeah, let's just get back to these, cooler temperatures. We don't need to go below 50. We don't need to go above 80. Let's just keep it between 60 and 70. If we can agree on that, we'll be cool. But anyway, good morning, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. Another good one today as we welcome Pastor Leroy Bean and Darren Woods from the Gang Violence Reduction Team on the show. The Daily Players will remember when. So it's a little history for Sister Sherry. Yeah, a little history.
Told you I need extra time.
No, you got this. I have faith. I believe, Sherry, you will get this. No, let's be real. You've guessed some answers before I finish answering the question. Like I don't think I've seen anyone better than Leanna in the game. I don't think when Lee's done it, she's like, guess one time. I'll give her that. She's pretty swift.
Okay.
Well, I know that Work Academy, she's got that Flora Duffy when it comes to trivia, right? She's got that Flora Duffy. But anyway, saying that is, Sherry, I don't think you give yourself enough credit, because if I try to trick you, I think you go with it, and I'm just like, no, stay straight. But I think you got this. You have this one. Just be inspired by Leanna Flora Duffy Lambert. That's all you got to do. Just be inspired by her.
Okay.
She got you. Yeah, Anyway, look, folks, don't forget the giveaway. Here's how it works. You will have to tune in every day. Means you have to go back and watch all the episodes if you haven't, to see what letter is being given at a different time each day. We've been given 2 letters a day as of late, and we'll give another 2 today to determine what words make up the phrase. Once you believe you've guessed correctly, go to our website, thedailyhour.com, and fill out the Contact Us form with your name, email, and answer where it says message. Please note you must be a subscriber on the website to be eligible to win the $500 prize, and we have quite a few people who have sent the correct answer already, so it should be interesting. But Sherry,
love it.
Sherry, we've got a conversation to have this morning, and folks, Bermuda, you want to be a part of this conversation, because it's been a conversation that we've been having for quite a while, and we're gonna get to the we're gonna get somewhere with. I don't have the let me be out there. I don't have the answer to this. I probably disagree with the majority of you where I stand in terms of not agreeing. I'm not saying I have the answer. I probably just disagree with your answer, and that's okay. That's okay,
That's
at least from my
that's
perspective.
normal.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the question that we're going to need to deal with today. Obviously, we spoke yesterday not about the actual situation with now former senator as of January 31st, 2022, Curtis Richardson, and that situation. We didn't speak about specifics in that case. We actually spoke about protecting our seniors, right? Based on that case. But something else has been coming up over the years, and we can go back to Ralph Commission when he was an MP, or the late Sean Crocker when he was an MP, and people saying we need criteria. And they were saying that these gentlemen shouldn't be serving because they had criminal records. I disagree with that. I can explain if you'd like. Now you have people saying that, elected officials should have no debt and so on and so on. And see, for me, I just think of the human element. So the question today, here's your question, folks. Get ready. I know you love stuff like this. And the overall question, the purpose of it is, do you believe criteria will give Bermuda the best opportunity to succeed? So it's not about individuals. It's about let's put the question. Do we need more strict criteria for our elected and appointed officials? If so, what? So the purpose of this question, folks, is if we have more strict criteria, do you think we will have better governance? That's the point of the question. Uh-oh, Sherry. You look a little lost there.
Well, it's not lost. It's just the thought, and actually, we kind of agree on some things. Huh. Um,
Really?
yeah, people are humans. Like, who's coming into any type of situation with possibly no debt? Let's be real. Come on. Should you be in a certain situation where the debt is so much where you absolutely can meet the payments, then that may be a different situation. I know out here trying to find apartments, they want you to be making at least 3 times whatever the rent is. Yes, there should be some criteria. I'm not disputing that at all. But as you said, we have to take a human element into it. Criminal backgrounds, are you serious? Are we just not doing the same thing that we don't want the other people to be doing to us?
Correct.
So why would we even think that? Have they been out? What community service? Let's take it all into perspective before we pass that judgment. But I do agree there should be some type of criteria. Does that then indicate that their moral responsibility will be different? Let's check that part. What is their moral responsibility to themselves, to the community, and so forth? Because you can have the strictest of criteria, all that you want. If somebody is shady and lies, or whatever the case may be, that will come out as well. So for me, it's not so much the strict criteria. What are we going to nip in the butt when something does arise? Are we going to make excuses for people? Are we going to indicate that as soon as you do one strike, you're out type of situation? That's what it is for me.
You make a great point there. You make a great point, because at the end of the day, it's like a job interview. Many people are smart and intelligent. They can get through a job interview and get the position. But once they get in the position, over time, you realize they're not the best candidate and can't actually perform the task. So I actually, that makes a lot of sense, Sherry. Is it really about the criteria, or is it about the behavior and performance once they get in that position? Sam kept place for you. She's up for you.
Now we know the premier was aware of the issue. It's not the debt in question. It's the fact that it was rental arrears and outer abuse, either way you look at it. Would he want this to be done to his mom?
Well,
No.
let's keep it focused. Let's keep it focused. Again, let's keep it focused. Like yesterday, I don't care to discuss the actual situation because, believe it or not, it's still before the courts, number one. And two, we're speaking about the issues that are bigger than this. Is bigger than Curtis Richardson, Senator Curtis Richardson, and the premier. This is bigger than his situation with this particular outer. But yesterday we spoke about outer abuse, right? Today we're speaking about our elected officials and appointed politicians. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about how do we get the best Bermuda government? Do we need more strict criteria for elected and appointed officials? If so, what? That's the question. Let's stay focused this morning. Kenton Trott says, morning, TDH. I just want our leaders to have integrity, respect, and be actual leaders. I am not concerned about their criminal record, their debt, or their past. I just want them to lead us with dignity, pride, and genuinely care about the community they serve. James Burt says, Sherry, I like what you were saying. Agree. I want to go back to what Sherry was saying. What really gets me, Sherry, is what you started off with about debt. Now, it bothers me in the US. You get, like, literally, when you go apply for a job, they check your debt or credit score and stuff like that. And for me, it's so counterproductive. It's so counterproductive because I'm like, well, if someone's in debt and, they're let go from their job or can't work, how is that helping the situation? All you're doing is creating a bigger situation because that person then may be left in a position where they become desperate for money or income, right? And when people become desperate, what do they do?
Desperate measures.
Exactly. It's usually not something illegal. So that's why I think the question is legit. Do we need more strict criteria for our elected and appointed politicians? If so, what? Tanya Cheeseman for you, Sherry.
Accountability for me is key. No one is perfect. We are all human. Criteria is needed, but strict criteria will not solve it. Not at all. When let's look at Charles Richardson. If we took into consideration his criminal history or background, would he be the lawyer that he is today? Should we have banned him from not being a lawyer? No. Why not? He has history or has relationship which it helps the community. And on the flip side, are we going to hold that against him for the rest of his life?
I think need to go in more depth. And I'm going to tell you why you need to go in more depth if you're going to speak about criminal history. I completely agree that, politicians or whoever, it used to bother me when a certain politician from the One Bermuda Alliance used to say, I'm against all forms of discrimination. And I said, that's BS. We all discriminate, whether legally or not. It's unconscious bias. There's forms of legal discrimination. For instance, the example I'm going to give you now is we have to be careful when not comparing all criminal acts. Why? Because if someone is applying for a job at a nursery with children and they have a criminal record that involves assaulting children, then come on, the criminal record's going to come into play. So I think we need to have specifics when we speak about that. We wouldn't want someone serving as an elected official or appointed, serving as a minister, overseeing education overseeing finance, and they've been have a criminal record stealing from a bank, for instance. Because we have to be go in more depth when it comes to that. But I do agree that we can't dismiss people for a criminal record simply because they have a criminal record. That was a great point. We wouldn't know what we have or what we can get or what this person can offer or how they can improve our governance system and country and community overall if we put them in that situation and labeled them for the rest of their lives. So I just think we need to be very specific. As far as the criteria, I don't think we should be dismissing people because of debt. I don't think we should be dismissing people because of criminal records, depending on what that the crime they've been convicted of is. But I do believe there should be some sort of standards once in, and I believe there are. Yes. There are code of conduct, and I think code of conducts need to be followed to a T. Because at the end of the day, you are the leaders that people have elected or have been appointed by those elected, right? And you must live a life that is admirable for the people of Bermuda to maintain that level of respect. Sheik Arena for you, Sherry.
In Bermuda, should candidates for office have some community service experience in their background?
No.
The thing about the community service for me, if it's something that you're passionate about and you say this is or something that you like to do and you say this is something that I do because this is what I like to do and it just happens to be done for free, then that is one thing. Another thing is that politicians are public servants and they provide public service, and they should act accordingly in regards to that. The other part of Jamal, who in Bermuda is not in debt? Let's be real.
Oh, no, let's go back. I want to answer this question first. Shikarina, you asked the question. Have some community service experience in their background? No. My answer is very simple. No. And
No.
I'm gonna tell you why. No. Community service and charity is used by rich people to act as if they care, in my opinion. I'm just gonna keep it real. No, I've done a lot of community service. I've coached, I've mentored, right? But that's because when my mom tried to put me in the Big Brothers and Big Sisters program in Bermuda, there were not enough mentors to mentor me. So I always said, when I get older, I'm gonna make up and add my name to a list. So that's why I joined Big Brothers in the US and was a mentor in Bermuda and YouthNet and coach, because I didn't want a young boy go without. So that was me. But I feel like community service, not everyone has the opportunity to do community service. Some people are out there working 1, 2, 3 jobs just to support their families, so they don't have time to do it. So I do not agree that people should have to do any sort of community service or experience in their background to be a politician. So that's just my reasoning, Shika, as to why. Michelle White says, first we have to see who are willing to step up for the world. If criteria is too strict, no one will be eligible. There needs to be more accountability and disclosure put on a plan. Traveling Trotty and Sam Cat plays for you, Sherry.
Does Bermuda have a code of conduct for elected and appointed senators and MPs?
There we go. As I mentioned, I believe they do. I believe they do.
Yeah.
And I don't have it in front of me, but I think that's probably something we should be more focused on than the criteria, in my opinion. And that code of conduct should be followed to a T. Sam Cat plays for you.
All should be held to greater scrutiny. CPAs and CPCUs of the like have to take on an oath, physical and ethical responsibility. Will it help for them to be held at the same level? Don't know. Yeah.
Interesting. Sean Smith says, what criteria do these political parties put in place for somebody to be a candidate for their party? At the same token, we voters must do better on who we elect to represent us. Well, I think that's part of the problem. I think politics is such a popularity contest that you're really never going to get the best. I remember my former colleague, Teo Dill, right? And this is something I don't think Bermudians really, truly understood back then, and I'm not sure we understand it now based on who we elect. But we were talking about American Idol and stuff like that, and we were trying to get people to understand the most popular doesn't mean the best. And it was this guy, like literally, very loud, outspoken guy who really couldn't grasp that concept, and because he was loud and outspoken, people took to him and didn't get it. Folks, being the most popular doesn't mean you're good at anything. It just means you found a way to get people to support your whatever it is you're doing. Seriously, think on that. But I agree. We have to do better. We have to, figure out what's best for us rather than who we like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Who we like. We think about the food. Majority of the foods we like, we know are not good for us, right?
Absolutely.
That's the best way to think about it. Think of your politicians like food. That's the most popular. You like them? Think of them like that fried chicken. Probably not good for you. Go ahead, Sherry. Sorry.
No, and I agree with a code of conduct, a code of ethics, all of that. And it's great that it's in place, but it's the other part. We have to follow through with it as soon as it occurs. It's not because you're my cousin, I went to school with you. All of this type of the mentality of a small community comes into place, and or you knew somebody's parents. No, if they didn't do what they were supposed to do, the code of conduct says that they should not be sitting in that position. And that to me is the problem. You know what I mean? It is the problem.
You heard of folks. Kimberly Jackson says criteria is needed, and we have to have a balance of giving people a second chance. The second chance may impact certain positions, and safeguards may need to be in play. Accountability is key. I agree. I am totally with her. Again, using the example about Charles Richardson. Charles was given a second chance, and he's been a brilliant lawyer and servant to the community since. So, we have to take all things into consideration when doing this. Let's bring Leanna into the conversation. See what Lee thinks. Her record's clean. I'm the only one that's probably got a little blemish in it. YouTube.
I'm sure.
Yeah, you too goody two shoes.
I don't
Don't
do
worry about my
jail.
blemish. Don't worry about my blemish. Shucks, my mama still love me. Good morning, Lee. How you doing?
Good morning, guys. First and foremost, the color coordination between you two and leaving me out is just getting a little
You
bit
both have on the same
ridiculous
color
now.
again today?
We do, but you bring balance to it. I think I like a little black and brown combination. So
Okay.
hey,
Sherry
All right.
saved the day. Sherry saved the day.
as
Folks,
I
be honest,
do.
we honestly don't plan this, but it is 2 days in a row. Yeah. Lee, I'm gonna have to let you know. I'm gonna have to let you know because something tells me Shara's talking to somebody in my household, and that's always happening.
It must be. Can I just get the inside scoop too,
Yeah,
Sherry? Just pass that information along once you receive it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's what we'll do. Lee, you want to in on this question? You want to answer, or you just want to go straight to news break?
The only thing I'll say regarding this topic is that I've always felt that there should have been a criteria of some sort
Mhm.
before officials are elected or appointed in various civil servant roles. Because as a young person who's been to school and come back, and the amount of experience that we are required to have before we hold any sort of position in any job is a paramount, right? So I feel like, why isn't the same sort of standard across the board, even when it comes to our politicians?
Yeah, I think we're all there. We're all there. Folks, follow us on social media. We'll be talking a lot more about this on our social media pages. Lee, ready for the news break?
I'm ready.
All right. After this news break, we'll have Pastor Leroy Bean and Darren Woods on the show. Good conversation coming up, folks. Don't miss out. Over to you, Lee.
Thanks, Jamal and Sherry, and good morning to all of those who are tuned in with us this morning. I hope everyone is having a great start to their day. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. In today's top stories, the island has sadly recorded another 2 new COVID-related deaths, bringing the island's death toll to 114. Now, the announcement, which came in from health officials last night, also revealed that there are now 16 infected people in hospital, with 3 of them in the intensive care. The latest test figures show that 496 of the new infections out of 7,344 results that came back to health officials were in the latest update. The new cases were found in the test results carried out from last Wednesday to Saturday. Last Thursday marked the highest positivity rate for the coronavirus at 8.1%. However, the active number of cases continues to drop, with there being 1,719. There have been 661 recoveries, however, since the last update. In other news, a controversial senator and junior minister last night quit his position after facing heavy criticism after it was revealed he owed an elderly woman $19,000 in unpaid rent. Now, Curtis Richardson will resign in his seat in the upper house and position as junior national security minister, a brief that covers law and order at the end of the month. David Burt, the premier, broke 4 days of silence and confirmed a report that he was aware of Mr. Richardson's debt problems before he appointed him to the upper house. Meanwhile, 9 of the island's bus fleet had to undergo repairs after thieves raided their cash boxes while they were parked in a depot at Dockyard over the weekend. Now, staff are said to have found that the canisters where passengers deposit their fares had been removed. The canisters contained an unknown quantity of cash. Now, police say that they managed to recover a number of the canisters, minus the cash, which they had found hidden between rocks in the water near Moresby's Plain following a search of the area. CCTV footage recovered from the scene showed that the suspects wore dark clothing with their faces covered. Now, anyone with information should call 211 or the main police telephone number at 295-0011. And Kiva Jill Benjamin has become Bermuda's first female commissioner of corrections. The appointment of the 30-year-old veteran of the prison service became effective on January 17th. Now, she has held the position in an acting capacity since 2018, when former Commissioner Lieutenant Colonel Edward Lamb was seconded to the National Anti-Money Laundering Committee. Head of the Public Service, Derek Bin, said, quote, Ms. Jill Benjamin brings a wealth of operational and strategic knowledge to the post, having worked in the service for 3 decades. Her skills will be an invaluable asset to the government, and I want to take this opportunity to congratulate her and wish her well in the new role, end quote. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 71 and a low near 66 degrees. Inclement weather looms in the area today. High thin cloud thickens and lowers to give a few wet spells and approach from the southwest through south. Now low pressure remains nearby and will keep unsettled weather into our area right through to Thursday. That's all for our daily hour news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. But before we go, here's a little helpful tip from your favorite community pharmacist. Many of our prescription medications have a suitable generic equivalent. Now ask your People's Pharmacist about switching to save money on your medications. Now let's head back to Jamal and Sherry in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Lee. And yeah, I'm wishing Bermudians some warmer days down there. I am. And
these temperatures have dropped. You see, you got the turtlenecks on this
I was
morning.
gonna call it out. Yeah.
Oh my God. And I've been getting up extra early because my mother, lovely her, I've been taking her to work every morning. And see, my mom's one of those type of people that she makes 8:30, but she's in the office at like 7:15. And I've had the opportunity to have to play chauffeur for the last couple of days.
Look, don't talk about my friend Call girl.
No. Big shout out to my mom. She got me up early and that was one of my New Year's resolutions. So thank you, Mom.
Oh, nice.
You're pushing it.
Lee, thank you so much for that. And we will see you back here bright and early tomorrow morning.
Oh, wait, we need to know what's today. Our calendar day.
It's day of the year. Yes. What is our day of the year? Thank you.
Was
it's okay, Carrie. I got you.
I'm just telling you. Thank you, as you always do. But Jamal should know what today is. It's National Florida Day, and it's celebrated today, January 25th, every year. It's the day was established to recognize Florida as the 27th state in the Union of the U.S., and also known as the Sunshine State, sunny weather, beautiful amusement parks, and so forth. Today is Florida Day, Jamal.
Happy Florida Day, Jamal.
Happy Florida Day, Jamal. Have a Heineken.
Zero.
Florida Day to me is like gumbays are to white people. They just don't get it. So on that note, let's go. We'll see you tomorrow, Lee. Shucks. Florida Day.
I know.
Happy Florida Day. I'll go to work saying Happy Florida Day today. All right. Thanks so much, Lee. See you tomorrow. Bye. All right, folks, don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with our guest for the day, Pastor Leroy Bean and Darren Woods, bringing the conversation. Stick with us.
Are you a small business or organization looking for new ways to reach a greater audience? Well, here's your chance to get your ad on BTG Radio, Good Day Bermuda, and Bermuda's daily talk show, The Daily Hour. Send an email to contact@bermudacommunications.com.
Coconut oil has been popular here in Bermuda as a skin moisturizer for generations, but is sometimes avoided in cookery because of its unhealthy reputation. We've witnessed a change in attitudes as recent findings indicate that coconut oil is actually heart healthy and can enhance our immune systems, increase metabolism, energy and endurance, and improve digestion. Nutiva coconut oil is a superfood in its own right, and this month we're featuring Nutiva organic shortening made with organic coconut and red palm oils and also hemp seed oil. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
All right, welcome back to the big show. Sherry Vanderpool, I'm Jamal Hartnett. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Without further ado, let's bring our guest for the day. We have Pastor Leroy Bean and Darren Woods coming from the Gang Violence Reduction Team. So, true story, before I bring them up. I had to remember, try to remember in my head the entire name. I just thought it was Gang Violence Team. The key word is reduction. Like if there was a word in there, it's reduction. That's the whole purpose of it. So I was practicing this morning, guys, on my run. I was like, Gang Violence Reduction Team, Gang Violence Reduction Team. So I'm glad I got the name right. I got to give them the respect, and they're doing a lot of stuff. Yeah. So let's bring in Pastor Bean and Darren Woods. Good morning, gents. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning. Morning.
It's a pleasure having you both. And let's just get right to it. Shara's crazy. She'd be here talking some stuff and lightening up the mood a bit, but we're gonna get serious and get into the conversation. First of all, I want to thank you for doing this. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for trusting the platform and really to be able to share what it is you do. And for those who don't know, just speak to us a bit. What is the goal and purpose of the Gang Violence Reduction Team?
Well, Jamal, I believe it's just that in the name, the Gang Violence Reduction Team. It's to reduce violence, but we use a multi-pronged approach, which deals with the preventive mechanism and the education. We also deal with the mediation, and at times we also deal with other facets of it that we don't talk too much about, which would be relocation and different aspects that we do have to our program that we very seldom speak about publicly because of the confidentiality that's around it. So we're almost prohibited from saying certain things in that regard. But we normally cover a large volume when it comes to dealing with a lot of gang tension that's going on behind the scenes that people wouldn't know about. Along with being in the high schools, primary schools on a daily basis. And we do quite a bit of restorative justice sessions there. I'm actually trained a trainer with restorative justice, but we also use other tactics such as cognitive behavior therapy, gestalt therapy. And all this here is to make individuals not only see the problem, but also to be accountable for their actions concerning the problem, but to equip them to, the best way going forward.
Well, you mentioned just now that you, preventative measures pretty much. There's a lot of stuff that you do that obviously can't be shared publicly, as some of it involves protecting people for privacy and safety reasons, but also mentioned going into the schools. And I think that's some of what a lot of people want to know. How do you go about achieving your goals? Only the stuff that you can reveal, like what is actually done, because I remember someone posting the other day when the police bus used to go around the primary schools and so on. And there are people that say, when they see these stories in the paper, what do you do? You just can't explain what you do, but how do you go about achieving the goals that are set out by you and your team?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so we have a array of programs that we work with, and so we have the Redemption Farm program, which is a 30-week program that takes and trains 15 to 30.
By any chance, only because it's really horrible quality. Can you guys see the room?
Let me switch. Sorry.
Sorry about that, audience. We do try to get this sorted before we come live on air, so that you do get the best quality to engage with the guests. So we're just gonna fix this issue, and then we will get back to you in a second to discuss. All right. So just bear with us for a second, but these are definitely things that we do intend to do before we come on air. And Mr.
Apologies.
No problem.
Apologies, Jamal. Is this better?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Great. So we have the Redemption Farm program, which is a training program that takes 15 young men between the ages of 18 to 28 at the moment. And that program is it works with young people, the young man, to deliver a kind of life-changing program. So within that 30 weeks, the young people participate in a work placement. So we work with different local companies to provide a work placement for the young man. The young man also participate in job readiness skills, life skills, career exposure workshops, and general personal development workshops. Those young people are also the young trainees in the program are paid a stipend weekly based off of how they show up, the amount of work that they get done. And we have a kind of a form that we work with the employers to work on. Each of those young men in that program, after this or during those 30 weeks, are also attached with a case manager and a job coach that goes in and checks in on the young people that we're working with them at that time. We go in to check on them on work. We go to the homes, we work and support and provide case management services towards those young men that are in this program. From that program, we also have post-training support. A lot of people, this program used to be called the Redemption Farm Program. It's now the Redemption Program because we took it just from the farm and extended it out to work with other companies and businesses. Of those 15 trainees that participated in that program this year, 8 of those trainees ended up with full-time jobs. 4 of those trainees, my math may be wrong, 4 of those trainees were given part-time work. 2 of those trainees have enrolled into Bermuda College, and one of those trainees transitioned into Bermuda College, and the other trainees were actively working with still to help to support to find them full-time work or part-time work. Okay. Other programs we have are we provide incident management support and school outreach support to the high schools. So in the high schools, you'll find our teams in there daily working with various young people. And during those times, what we're doing is we're in the schools, we're working with the schools if primarily Cedar Bridge. If there's an incident or if there's fights or if there's violence, our team come in to support that student management service team to come in and to create a response. We're working with the young people. We're meeting with them at lunch times. We'll hosting what Pastor Bean said, restorative justice sessions. And then we're really working with them and providing counseling services. We're in there with them day in and day out to help to kind of take them from that path and change the point of their trajectory.
And you said that it's 18 to 28, correct?
That is correct.
All right. So one of the go ahead, Pastor Bean.
That's the general age, but it can't go high. You hear me?
Your head's cut off. I hear you fine, but your head was cut off.
I'm sorry. I don't know why my head's cut off.
Go ahead.
But normally we stick with that age, but it has been higher, in age bracket. It depends on the need of the individual at that particular time. And the object of getting into the high schools is because most of the recruiting would take place in the high schools. And so as a result, we find ourselves that we can meet them earlier. We also have a Hype Kings program, which is in the primary schools. Currently, right now, within 2 of the main primary schools, at least those ones that we have identified. And we have the Hype Kings programs to meet them there at a young age. One of the things we are finding is, and many people don't seem to touch it, I listen to many people talk, and most times I just sit there in silence until the right opportunity. And there are some fundamental principles that need to be dealt with that we seem to avoid as a culture. Fundamental principles that needs to be looked at, and from 2 aspects. One is from the parenting aspect. When a parent has a child, they automatically think that daddy parents, so therefore they know how to parent. But sometimes there are some general things that have been left out, and as a result, we find that even in these cases, many of the individuals want to be friends with their children rather than to be parents. And so as a result, we find certain things that should be instilled in the child not there. And then you have the other aspect, which is called transgenerational trauma. Transgenerational trauma is something that's quite significant because I've identified with the 40 years that I've been out here working with this particular population. So I'm not no Johnny come lately, just in this particular population, because they all go hand in hand together. What I've discovered is that some families, it's been a trait that's been passed on. Whether it be because of a system that's behind that constantly is dividing, certain people across the line, or whether it's other factors. But what we find is that transgenerational trauma has been a key component in identifying to start to know how to meet the needs of the younger generation, Don. And so, currently, I've actually got things which I wouldn't say it here, but anytime you want to talk off record, I can show actually, by way of a chart of what's actually happening.
I want to go back because trauma keeps coming up in our community, regardless of what we speak about, and appreciate you mentioning that. But I want to go back to measurements because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, in 2019, Bermuda didn't record a murder at all.
We didn't record a murder.
Okay. But hold on, let me because I'm got a question from the audience, and I really want to tie that into what I'm asking. Sam Cat Play says, Pastor Bean, if that's the description of the unit, why hasn't there been a reduction in violence? As from where many are sitting, we've seen an uptick in shootings at shots of which are likely turf related. But and I bring up that there wasn't a murder in 2019 because I think, and I'm not defending you at all. You can defend it. You can speak to yourself. Yeah. But what I simply believe is, I don't even remember people speaking publicly about the fact that there was no murders in 2019. I don't remember the hype. I don't remember the plaudits, because if I'm not mistaken, you were appointed in 2017 or
2017, like October.
So it would be easy to say, and Sherry mentioned yesterday it was National Compliment Day, right? But we're not a culture who compliments, right? We're not a culture. We're a culture who will criticize quicker before we compliment. But what was done, and I want to ask you this, what was done by your team, and I'm not saying that it's all on you or you can take credit for it, but what was done by your team in 2019 that maybe wasn't done last year or wasn't done in 2020 or the years before? What do you believe is a result in that?
To be honest with you, we're doing the same thing we were doing in 2017, 2019, right up to date. And it's interesting, for the person that you just read out and said that, that crime is rising. In actual fact, you can go check the statistics and you'll find out that in actual fact, crime has actually dropped. I mean, in our highest years from 2011 to 2013 or so, you had some of the highest murder statistics. And you can look again from 2016 to almost 2017. You had, I think it's 3 in 2018, and you still had very high gang statistic. And this is when we had John Jay University, a university that came from away that was in charge of Operation Cease, and we still had some of the highest caliber. I think that one of the things that we have done that they and outside forces could not do is build relationship. Almost 80 to 90% of what we do is around relationship. If you don't have relationship, you don't have trust. If you don't have trust, people don't listen to you. And so these are key factors. I believe that what happened is that even with many of the young men that we were working with in 2019, putting them on a positive track and so on. And I think that what has happened is for most of us is that we have a tendency to look at the murder and then we go from there. But there are some insinuating circumstances that are behind murders, and events that take place. Nothing is by chance. Every cause has an effect. And believe you me, that we can almost link straight to the T and show you where the connection actually came from, which we're not going to say on the actual show. But everything has a cause, and the effect is what we see on the outside. And then we dismiss certain things that should be done, like in the home. And so now Pastor Leroy Bean and his team, Darren Woods and the others have to just go and pick this here up. But people need to be responsible for their own actions. You know how certain things are being done. And I think that what has happened is that, Bermudans are so outspoken. And sometimes I work almost a 14 to 16 hour a day, just going. And I do this here because of what I want to see happen with the young black males. You talked earlier, and I was listening to you very carefully. I am one of those, like a Charles Richardson. I am one of those that they outcast. I am one of those people that had a gun charge. So when I do this here, I do this from the perspective of a person that's been there and don't want to see another black male be there. And so when I come out and I start to deal with it, most times I don't tell my story. I go into school, I tell my story. But for those that are underlying and they go on because they're worrying about, $125,000 that I have to pay taxes out of, that I'm accountable to, that I have 2 master's degrees, and now finishing off my PhD in crisis counseling. And I look at that there because when the foreigner was here, when the person that came from away was here, they were getting paid almost an estimated $320,000 for 1 hour a week on a Thursday, which I was on the call, but yet they would get paid this, and not one Bermudian would actually criticize. Not one Bermudian criticizes when I get up 3 and 4 in the morning, have to go to a call, but nobody wants to touch that part. They sit there and they run their mouths about things that they know nothing of. I hear them, and then you have some parents that are on the line that want to come personal. I don't know why, personal against Leroy Bean, but the truth is, check your children. I've seen a lady come on the line and she's constantly tell them the truth why your child's out of the island. Because if you want to go to me, I can go there with you because I know everything and the connections. So we need to be real. If we're going to be real in Bermuda, if we're going to do something, let's do our part. We make gang violence political. The truth of the matter is, gang violence cannot be political. I don't care who's in power.
I think right there it sums it up. It can't be a political football. I think and justly, I think Pastor Leroy Bean, you made very valid points there, and I've seen it take place where there have been non-Bermudians in the same positions making double the amounts of money. I can name situations, but I'll leave that for another day. But when the Bermudian that people are familiar with is in there and trying to do work, there is going to be more scrutiny, and that's just the way the culture is built. Mind you, I must say you have very thick skin because I don't have it like you. My response is going to be more swift and more. I wouldn't wait to the daily hour to say it. But Sherry, over to you real quick.
Yes, and I was going to say I felt that, Pastor Leroy Bean, and you and I used to work together many moons ago, so I do know some of your history. But what are some of the things that the organization has achieved and some success stories? Because I know that you've seen some people from 40 years ago till now. What are some of the success stories in between?
Well, I'm going to let Mr. Wood speak about some of the statistics, because many of them think we don't have statistics. So I'm going to let him speak about some of these statistics. Okay. But personal success stories, trust me, we can go back and do a book on it. But I'm going to let Darren.
Nice.
All right. I'm got you, Pastor. Don't worry. Go ahead, Darren.
All right. Thanks. Yeah. So we've had an array of success stories on our team. Like when you look at success with the young people in the population that we're working with, or the young men that we're working with, in our program, in one of our programs, we have the youth mentoring and work placement program, which basically hires 20 of the young people that have participated in our program throughout the year. We give them summer jobs and provide a summer job program for them. And students who have come through that program have received full-time jobs. We've seen students go from being caught up fighting in trouble, at risk of being potentially locked up or with current cases on their plate. Those young people have come into these programs and work with our team, and they've gone on from a summer park placement to being like, you know what, this is something that I'm really interested in doing. This is something that I care about. This is a job that I'm passionate about. Employers recognizing their potential and being like, you know what, I'm going to keep you on. So you stay on with me throughout the school year, on weekends, after schools. We'll work out parts for you to get jobs, for you to get your work done, and then we'll keep you and hire you and get you trained up in this field. So we have young people who have started in certain places and used us as a team and the resources that our team and the opportunities that our team have provided, and they've done really well to get out. We, through our Redemption Farm program, we take some of the highest risk young people, some of the highest risk young men on the island, for them to feel comfortable going and coming to our program and trusting us to work with us is important. And so if you take those young people and then they're ending up and we're placing them in work placements and they're getting full-time jobs, I think it's important to understand what a full-time job means to that person and what it stops that person from doing. I think that those are some of the key things as well. So we have a lot of different stories that we can speak about.
Okay.
Awesome, awesome. And when will we get to the point where there is no longer a need for your service or organization like this to exist? You know what I mean? We love what you guys are doing, but when will we not need
No, no,
you?
no, 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 no sugarcoating. No,
Shay,
no,
I'm gonna answer that question.
no sugarcoating.
Um,
Let me say something. No sugarcoating here. The majority of Bermudians don't love what you guys are doing. We're not going to say we love what you guys are doing. People don't like the organization for whatever reason. So the question is, when will we get to a point where we no longer need what you're doing? And this is a question that is put to the family center as well, right? This is a question put to them as well. And maybe the coalition, when will we get to a point? When will you all say, you know what? Our work here is done. We've succeeded. We no longer need this organization.
Well, to be honest with you, Jamal.
Yeah, Pastor Bean, I can't hear you. You can't see you, can't hear you. Can't see you, can't hear you. Something's going on.
Can't hear me. All right. So,
I hear you now, but can't see you.
I don't know what to do. Turn it upside down. You keep on clicking out of it. Yeah, AI. It's not my forte.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah. But I don't think that, to be honest with you, whether I'm going to be here much longer is another thing. But I will say this here, I'll do my time of when I believe that it's time for me to leave. Then I will do whatever I've got to do as long as the government or any government of the day is pleased with what I'm doing. However, I don't think that I believe you're gonna always need a gang violence around. I believe you're always gonna need a coalition and a family service around, primarily because other major things, as I had spoken about earlier, have not been addressed. If you can't bring equality and justice between everybody, and let's be real, we start to look at certain things that happen to certain families, and you can see it. You can name some of the families. You can go on A, B, C. And you can start to see certain families. But what has been done different for over 3 generations? And so while we're sitting here and we're dealing with the teams that are more reactive sometimes, the truth of the matter is that we're not dealing with the actual root of something. Why is it separation and divide? Why is it that there are people around one area of Bermuda and others on another side of Bermuda? Let's deal with the root cause. Because what we have right now is, and people don't want to touch it because they don't want to, they don't want to ruff the feathers. But the truth of the matter is that until we start to recognize what's happening in our island and has been happening 400 years, that here we are, we're doing certain looking investigations into things now. Well, these things have never really been addressed. Yeah, we're trying to address and see but we ain't gonna touch nothing with certain things. We might come up with something, but the truth of the matter, it would be almost unjust to move people that have had certain things over a statute of limitation of 21 years and things like that. So I think that what happens is we have a lot more to address than these little things that people are being that are having or expressing their dislikes about. You take these out of the way, and what you're going to find, there will be a volcano, metaphorically speaking, that you will never be able to control, because these are the things that are maintaining things.
Well, see, this is where I would disagree. I think, and if I'm wrong, I'll correct myself if someone corrects me on another episode, but I believe it was Dale Butler, former minister, that said if we get rid of conscription, this will happen, that will happen, as if conscripting mainly black males was a savior for Bermuda, or it was hell for Bermudian black men, like they would all be on the street. So I actually vehemently disagree that if you got rid of it, that all hell would break loose. I guess the point of the question is asking, when you go into something, the overall purpose is, what? We want to do a job so well that there's no longer need. Now, what I feel like I'm getting from you, Pastor Bean, is that you're saying there's always going to be a need because the problem is more deep rooted, and we need to address the roots, which is that's what I think you're saying. Am I correct?
That's exactly what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this here, that if you do not address the root cause, then you're going to have a problem. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I was just looking at, reading an article just the other day about transgenerational trauma. Some refer to as intergenerational trauma. And what was so interesting is that they had done some experiments first on mice. And what happened with the mice is that the mother mouse was stressed out. Mm-hmm. Stressed out word, it actually caused some scientific things to to actually shift. In other words, the agouti gene and the histones above the agouti gene started to bring stress in the mouse, that when she had her children and offsprings, they became different colors, they acted different ways, they started to demonstrate stuff. They took this very same experiment and they done it with the Holocaust survivors. And what they found out from the Holocaust survivors were that many of those from the third generation of the Holocaust survivors were still experiencing the stress, the pain, the trauma, and the torment from their forefathers. Now, I'm saying that to say that until that root system that caused that stress to come on is not dealt with, and it still exists, then what's going to actually happen is we're going to find ourselves continue to repeat. So here we are, we're taking something that's becoming destabilized forces like the Family Center and like the other programs that are coming up and the mirrors and everybody else that's out here. And so we're going to remove them, and we ain't even addressed the root cause. So there's not going to be any sense of what's now. What you're saying is it's always anyone that works in this field would love to see happen. That everything is eradicated.
But I guess I'm saying is that these organizations, it would make more sense to the root cause has, like, we can chew gum and walk at the same time, right? So the point I'm making is, while these organizations exist, no one's saying they're bad, but we should be addressing the root cause as well, because if not, we're just going to be repeating the cycle, and the situation is going to remain. And so we should, at least, if Pastor Leroy being is out here with Darren Woods doing a job helping those vulnerable people, then 20 years from now, we shouldn't be in a position where this organization still needed, because while they were helping individuals, there should have been another organization addressing the root causes. And I know, what we're talking about with you is surface stuff. Right, but we have to address the root cause. We can't say that this isn't the root cause. But I want to go to a question from the audience. Ebony Souza says, great initiative. What tips and tricks can you give parents with at-risk kids to assist with us moving forward as a community?
First of all, I think that, providing the necessary structure, the apparatus that is needed. I think that most times in a household, and as I had said earlier, parents are trying to be friends. Now, while you want a relationship where a child expresses itself, you still want to set a standard. And when I say a standard, there are certain things that that should be automatically upheld within any family structure when it comes to the law, when it comes to doing illegal activity, and so on and so on and so on. These are the things. Also, the education component, and trying to do what we're going to do as far as the education component is concerned. I think that there, again, back to the root cause. Jamal and Sherry, I have a book that's about to come out, and it's called Gang Violence is by Design, and I address some of the root causes there. That's probably going to upset a lot of apple carts. But, but my point is that that until we start to go to the root cause, we're going to remain here. But I will say this, because I'm a pastor. And Jamal, I want you to, hear me what I'm saying here. First of all, the scripture says, and the poor will always be amongst us. And most times, so that's never going to change. I don't care what way you look at it, it's not going to change. And you'll find certain things that happen and certain things that take place in a psychological makeup of those that suffer from this, what I call unfortunate situation, that many of them had not even put their own selves in this place. It's been because of a system that is appointed there. Why would we not take those houses that are built in certain areas and go and build them on the edge, go look at over South Shore or down Pakistan or over Fairylands or somewhere close to that? Why wouldn't we do that? Come on, let's be real, because it's a system of the divide that you have the have and you have the have-nots, and nobody wants to address it. And
can I add to what you're saying?
Sure.
And this is my issue with the article that was in the Royal Gazette last week regarding black violence, black man, it's a black man shooting and black man being shot or being killed. This is my issue, because everybody's liking this post and sharing this post, right? And yes, it's young black men that are being impacted. Yes, it's black men that are involved in this. But the root cause of why we're here, unless we address that, and this, of course, it's going to be the black man. To act as if our problems are not a result of deep-rooted racism to act like they're not a result of some sort of inequity, and act that like black young men are just out animals and this and that. I don't disagree with you. I get that. I guess it comes full house, and we'll end it with this question because we are out of time.
Sure.
Why should the community be confident that people like Pastor Leroy Bean and Darren Woods, you shared the work that you do, you shared how you measure it, but why should they be confident that the gang violence reduction team is worth the money being paid?
Yeah. Okay. The gang violence reduction team, one, were a very small team of 3 people, who does a lot of work, a lot of hard work, a lot of work that a lot of people don't want to do, and a lot of work that agencies, and we're working with a population that people in a population, an age group of people where there are very limited services structured around. So our team are working with our minister, with the head of the national security, to look at and to really look at how we make this a multi-pronged approach, how we use the workforce development, how we use Bermuda Housing Corporation, how we partner with financial assistance, how we partner with different Ministry of Education, how we work with all of these different systems and structures in order to directly work and service young Black men in Bermuda. There aren't systems and structures that are currently set up in order to really do that and do it correctly. So that needs to happen first. And so our team are really looking at that. In the interim, every single day, our team is out there connecting, working with a population of people that, frankly, a lot of people don't want to work with and choose not to work with. And so our team's out there doing it. We did not get to speak through all of the programs and the different things that we work with today, but I can share some stuff with your team. And so, yeah, that's the main answer to
and it's
that
interesting
question.
you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you, we would love to share more of the work that you guys are doing that's not out there. Can you possibly share with us some of the programs so that I'm a believer in getting ahead of the game, like sharing stuff before people ask, because every time there's a murder or a shooting, people, let's be honest, you see it, you said it, Pastor Bean, oh, where's Pastor Bean, or where's that? And I'm going to say, in the community we live in, I completely understand it, right? Because people believe that, our minds are shaped by what we see in the media, which is why I appreciate this platform for giving people the opportunity to engage directly with the audience, right? But you also have the opportunity to get ahead of them. Where can they find on social media or a website? But also, can you send information to us? If you don't trust other mediums, come straight to us. We'll share the information. We've got Leanna, who does an excellent job. If you ever want to get something out to our audience, let us know. But if we don't know honestly, then people are going to develop their opinions.
Well, Jamal, one thing that the minister does, she gives regular updates within ministerial statements. And if you go back to ministerial statements, they talk about actually the work that we do there. And based on what you said, that is something we're looking at now in presenting certain information to media. So now you talked about you were just talking about, when things happen, just a team that I want to give heads up to and real props. We have a team called the Coordinated Crisis Response Team. And what happens is that's led by me. And when anytime there is a incident, period, whether it be hospital or within a situation, when we are called out, what we will do is we'll go to that incident with a trained team. What we would first do, if it was a shooting incident and people are upset, we'll be there just to comfort. We'll normally set up what we call a hub. A hub will be either to an institution or church or anything that's close by to provide the necessary intense counseling service at the time. We would also we're connected with other people that deal with children and other organizations, and we will follow up on them the next day. And so we'll provide them and then refer them, because we can't do everything, to other agencies that would actually serve the very need of those individuals that are suffering from trauma. I believe that a lot of stuff, when it comes to the young man, when we talk to them, for me to speak about it to me, and I say this and I emphasize, it's disingenuous, Because when somebody comes to me and starting to share something and they want to get out of something and they want to, you know, and for the public to know that, my question is why? Why do you want to know? Do you want to know for a genuine reason? Because if you're genuine, give me a call and let me know that you're willing to volunteer, that you're willing to get into one of these teams and get out into your neighborhoods and get the proper training, that you can be of an assistance to not only their family member, but to that neighborhood. And I think those things are critical if we're going to stop. It's going to take all of us to come aboard as a collective body to start to stamp out this problem that we're having, not just with gang violence, but there are many other issues that we need to look at. And I'm hopefully even from this show, it might be a start of seeing many things take place, and people might be encouraged to want to volunteer, want to get involved, want to do things around their neighborhood so that we can start to tackle what I consider as being an epidemic and has been for years, definitely in the last 20 years.
Pastor Bean, thank you guys so much for this. And
Yes.
you know, honestly, you're welcome back anytime when you're doing something new that you want to make sure the public's aware of. Brother Darren, I actually saw you on Good Day Bermuda with Jackie and Terry, and I didn't even know you worked as a part of this team. I'm actually working out when I'm watching the show, so I was tuned in as much. And I compliment. I didn't know. I don't know you. I mean, I've never met you, but I enjoyed the conversation. And when I realized after a month later you worked with Pastor Bean, I was like, oh man, well, who would have known that? So I say that, folks. I say that because if you saw that episode with Darren on this show, if you saw that, then you would have probably, and now you put two and two together, you would understand there's work being done. So Darren, props to you in particular for being out there and doing what you're doing. And Pastor Bean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm got questions. I'm like many people, right? I have questions, but my questions are not personal. My questions are literally, you know, what's being done? How can we, how is it measured? And at the end of the day, what is being, like, not just your job, but who's doing stuff on the other side to ensure that you have the support. I'm in sales. I need the strength of marketing to ensure that my job is they're getting the best out of me in my position. Without good marketing, sales is almost pointless. So that's my question about the root cause. But we definitely want to have you back. We are out of time. Thank you both. Honestly, it's been a pleasure. But we'll have to reschedule. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Pastor Leroy being Darren Woods from the gang violence reduction team. We're going to take a quick break. Do not go anywhere. We haven't given you the letters to be eligible to win your $500. If you appreciated the conversation with the gentleman, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. So sorry, we do run out of time, but actually we have a movement moment to play for you as well. So don't go anywhere. Movement moment, then a commercial, then we'll be back.
Welcome to this movement moment brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Together, we can illuminate your path to wellness.
Welcome to today's movement moment, the first of 2022, and a happy 2022 to you, Tamara Donnell, brought to you by People's. What do you have for us in store for this year and today?
Good morning, Jamal, and good morning to your listening audience, and good morning especially to all of your audience members who have asked me when is the next movement moment. Today and this week, because we are going to do our best to get all of the month's content into a week, we're going to be discussing what's in a word, and specifically what is in the word best. So last year I spent every month focusing on a power, and those powers were designed, if the person focused on that specific power every month, it was designed to help people live their best lives. But I had a moment in December when I looked back on the year, and it occurred to me, the nerd that I am, that the word best is very subjective, and it's incumbent upon me to now step back, I felt, and help people understand that my best isn't necessarily your best. However, these tools are designed to help you achieve the best life that's best for you. So don't think that your best is going to look like my best, but do understand that the tools that I'm trying to put together can help you determine what's best for you. So this month, let's do away with these unrealistic concepts of what best looks like. I feel like too many of us now judge others on what is best for ourselves.
too many of us post our best, when in reality, those 40 characters in a text or those 3-minute reels aren't necessarily our true lives. Thank you for tuning into this movement moment. To enjoy the benefits of the full episode, check us at Instagram at MVMT with Tamra Donnell or at People's BDA.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
All right. Thanks again to Pastor Leroy Bean and Darren Woods doing the work out there, gang reduction team. Like I said, if you enjoyed that conversation, found it helpful, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Here are your letters for today. Sherry, we forgot to give letters, huh?
Look, you're all off today.
Yeah. So, first letter for today is going to be L for Leanna and Larry. L for Leanna and Larry. And the second letter is going to be K for kite. K for kite. All right.
Awesome.
So those are your 2 letters today. Thanks again to Medical House, One Communications, People's Pharmacy, and Linda's for ensuring we're able to do this with you every single weekday. Time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Sherry, are you ready?
Yeah, that's going to be quick. Go ahead.
All right. It's a remember when. Folks, help her out. She's going to guess this one time, though. Here we go. I'm playing the music. Apartheid came to an end in what decade in South Africa?
You know what decade? Wasn't it the 90s? 2000? Was it 90s? Well, which thing are you giving me? The thing or the...
You got it. I knew you'd get it. 90s. Yes, you got it. Apartheid came to an end in the 90s. And yeah. I'll just leave it at that. Any final thoughts on today's show, Sherry?
Criteria, yes, code of conduct, more importantly, and following through with that code of conduct when it comes to the senators, the game reduction violence team. Did I do it? I think I did it all messed up.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I got it right. As I said before, I appreciate what they're doing for the community and so forth. And, we just wish more success to come out of it, if that makes any sense.
I agree with everything Sherry said regarding the daily discussion question. I think it's a matter of when people get in position, them abiding by a code of conduct that's in the best interest of the country and their constituents. So I'll leave it at that. As far as criteria, I don't think more strict criteria is going to necessarily give you the best of the best. But we need to internally understand that popularity doesn't equate to the best. As far as Pastor Leroy Bean and Darren Woods, I'll repeat. We have a culture of being more critical, and that's why I joke about it. But Sherry is right. Like National Compliment Day, we are more likely to criticize before complimenting. And I only used the example earlier, like I never heard people talking about Bermuda had no murders in 2019. But every time there's a murder, we do ask that question, and rightfully so. Every time something happens, we question the pay that they're receiving. But truth be told, folks, instead of questioning the pay or maybe the murders, we need to dig deep and find out what is being done. How can we get involved with what's being done? Right?
Absolutely.
But also, again, I disagree with the Royal Gazette article and disagree with anyone that says that Black violence is our Black problem. It's not. It doesn't work like that. Poverty is not the problem of the poor, nor is violence a problem for the Black people. Sherry, you got some daily inspiration for us?
Yes, weaknesses are just strengths in the wrong environment. Marianne Cantwell.
I love it. Well, on that note, thanks again to our partners, Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. We've got Tashay Thompson, Bermuda Tourism Restaurant Week. Sherry Vanderpool, I'm Jamel Hartman. My friends, please do make it a great and safe day. We're out.